Here I am in 2021 in London with all my friends at university. I didn't know I would reach that point. Something happened in 2015 that changed my life forever. I wasn't there for much of it, mere scraps of the jigsaw. But the moment I remember most vividly was when I finally woke up. It felt like a reawakening, a rebirth. Slowly, I began to realise where I was. It wasn't a dream. I wasn't a prisoner in a hospital. I had been a prisoner of my own mind.
Degree of adjustment, the level of orientation, varies sharply from patient to patient. Some show a complete loss of contact with reality, dark shadows across disordered minds.
In 2015, I was working as a head teacher in a large secondary school. I was dealing with some quite complex problems, and I was very focused on the problems of the school itself. Still, I wanted to go skiing in the February half term. When she came back home and went to school, we could see that she was becoming unwell. But I was, I just thought, oh, it's just a cold or something, she'll be okay. And then over the weekend, she started behaving quite oddly. She just got iller and iller and iller, and then had a temperature of about 40 degrees this one night. So I'd got up and taken a temperature, and she was clearly really quite unwell. And I was saying to her, are you feeling okay? And she just suddenly sort of dropped backwards onto the bed, and she didn't seem to remember the conversation that we were having before she dropped backwards. Anyway, so I phoned her grandmother and said, she's really behaving very, very oddly. And her grandma said, I've phoned her GP surgery already, and they've contacted the hospital, and the hospital would like to see her. So I took her into the hospital, into the paediatric department of the hospital, and basically the only thing that they were interested in was whether she was a drug user. And they clearly didn't believe me that she wasn't a drug user. She was behaving quite like a drug user. She was behaving like somebody who couldn't keep reality in check. She couldn't see what was normal in front of her, even though she was walking pretty normally. She was looking people in the eye when she was talking to them. Everything seemed like it was pretty normal behaviour, but clearly it wasn't normal behaviour.
I can hardly remember anything. I know the stories my friends and family have told me, but my memory is very clouded with my own and theirs. Once I was admitted to the hospital, my symptoms worsened. I started sleeping with eyes wide open, rolling my head back like a madwoman. My entire personality had been sucked out of me. I seemed possessed by the devil. I began ballet dancing along the wards, screeching Madonna songs at the top of my lungs in MRI machines. I started hallucinating. One night I woke up and I realised it wasn't all a dream, and I had no idea what was wrong with me. This was reality. Unsure of the time and completely overwhelmed, I didn't wake up my mum. I checked the web on her phone and found her recent searches. Anti-NMDA receptor autoimmune encephalitis, an extremely rare brain infection caused by viral infections. That was it. All it took to turn my life upside down was a flu gone awry. Very high-dose steroids were used to take down the brain swelling, and this made my face puff up enormously. I became intensely exhausted and didn't return to school until the next academic year. I continue to fear that one day I won't feel present anymore, and perhaps I won't have people around me to recognise the differences like my mum did. As someone who suffered an autoimmune disease in which the brain attacks itself, I think that I am way too harsh on my own abilities. I used to cry in the hospital saying, "Why me? Why me?" because I wasn't noticeably ill, but I felt broken inside. I had to rewire my brain after being ill, and I don't think I've quite finished yet.